जो मांगे ठाकुर अपने ते सोई सोई देवै जो मांगे ठाकुर अपने ते सोई सोई देवै नानक दास मुख ते जो बोले इहाँ उहाँ सच होवे नानक दास मुख ते जो बोले इहाँ उहाँ सच होवे जो मांगे ठाकुर अपने ते सोई सोई देवै.
When we practice meditation for a while and we have found that we couldn't progress anymore, or we entered a dry period, what is your suggestion on how to continue to progress constantly on the spiritual practice?
Okay, this is a problem that affects many people, and it's related to their lifestyle, their way of life. You see, if you think about spiritual practice as a give and take approach, or something you have to earn, and in that basis, we have to relate it to how we live our life here on earth. For example, you go to your employment. You work maybe 5 hours a day and you get certain wages. If you work 5 hours every day, you only get the 5-hour wages. But let's say you say, okay, I want to get more wages, therefore I'm going to work 10 hours that day. So then you get the wages for 10 hours and you think, oh, that's interesting. I'm doing the same job. I'm just working a bit longer, putting more effort into it. Therefore, I'm actually getting more wages. Now, we understand this concept, but when it comes to spirituality, we forget all these things. And we think actually that the effort is not there. There's nothing have to be done. You just ask for it and it should be given to you, which is the concept of prayer, for example. So when people meditate, they get to a point where they're not making progress. And it's not because they're necessarily doing anything wrong. It's because they're not living the lifestyle to back up the meditation. Let me explain this. Meditation in spiritual practice is a way of life. It is not something you do in addition to your bad life. So let's say during the day you have bad thoughts and you're eating bad foods and you're misbehaving with people and you're causing suffering to insects and something, you're disregarding food, you're eating gluttonously, excessively, and you're just disregarding many other things, but you still do your regular practice. There's a limit. You will reach a limit where your activities, your daily activities, which are pulling you down, will fight against you're trying to raise your consciousness higher. So you get stuck. And you get stuck for a while. So there's no progress really. And most people, I would say, most practitioners, 97% in fact, suffer with this. Only 3% make it. And the reason why those 3% make it is because they're sincere and earnest devotees. They have got that vira, that longing in them. And that longing in them makes meditation their center of their world, the center of their life, or spiritual progress, spiritual knowledge, spiritual seeking, the center of their world. Therefore, naturally, everything they do in life surrounds that. Automatically, they upgrade their moral standard. They eat less food. They keep away from negative people. And they do many, many things that support the meditation activity. So then what happens is they find there's no dry period for them. They don't get stuck. And they make continuous progress. They don't go up and down depending on the mood of the day. Because their moods are fairly constant. Because they live life in a certain way. So this is an indication when you get into this stuck point or this dry period, that you need to start looking at your life more closely. How am I supporting my meditation activity? Is my life really noble? Am I walking in the footsteps of the saints? Or am I just trying to do a half-hearted job and hoping to get a full-hearted result? So this is important, and most people, even practitioners, go for years and years without really understanding this. And some of them even leave the path because they think, I'm not getting anywhere, I'm not getting anything out of this. But what they don't realize is that this is a way of life. This is not some sort of business transaction that you spend a couple of hours kind of concentrating on the Lord and hoping that He'll ignore all the rest of your day activity and turn a blind eye to it. It doesn't work like that. This is not a business transaction. And because we're so used to transactions of business in the world, we think that one thing cancels out another. But in spirituality, it doesn't work like that. You're accountable for every breath you take, for everything you think, for every intention you have. We're not saying you have to be perfect, but you have to try to become saintly. Just by merely trying, then your sins can be forgiven you. And if your sins are forgiven you, then when you meditate, despite your imperfections, you can rise. So nobody's saying you must become perfect and then meditate, because that's just not possible. But meditation supports the ideal of perfection, the ideal of being a perfect human being. So holy masters represent this way of living. Otherwise, we don't need holy masters. You can just actually teach meditation from a book. Show a diagram, show how you sit, and that's it. The reason why holy masters are also useful in this, to demonstrate this, because they live a certain way of life that supports the meditation. And that we can look at and say, oh, we should be like them. You know? So there's clues a lot in spiritual teachings, but because people are not sincere enough or not earnest enough, or it hasn't become their need, their real need is just a desire at the moment, a conceptual desire. So they half-heartedly make the effort and they get a half-hearted result. So that's the reason. Put more effort, make it the center of your world, take it seriously, and look at all the things you're doing in life. Does it support holy meditation? Would a holy master think that way, do those same things? So that is my advice to this questioner.